Before my health took a nosedive, I was an airline pilot. I had pretty good health. I had battled with cancer once before in 1995, but it's been in remission, hadn't had any recurrences or anything. My health was relatively decent. I knew that I had some sort of food allergy, but I couldn't really put my finger on it. I had been to several doctors and no one had really agreed with what I thought it was. I kept a food journal and I noticed that when I ate certain foods that it would make me feel really ill, stomach ache and diarrhea. It seems like the more I got exposed to it, the worse I got, but I couldn't put my finger on what it was. I was in New York on an overnight and I just decided, I've got to have some Indian food, so I know I'll pay for this, but I know the symptoms won't be too bad. I responded to that meal very drastically. I had a lot of discomfort. I was, doubled over in pain. I felt like I was cramping, like I was having a baby again, and I was just doubled over, just crying and like, oh my gosh, I'm about to die here. I thought I had food poisoning. Well, I got over that. Very next morning, I had numbness and tingling in my feet, and I was at work. I was supposed to fly, and this tingling sensation was at my toes. I'm like, this isn't right. It feels like my toes are numb, like I've been sitting on my leg for a couple hours. I got on a standby flight that evening and got an appointment the next day at my neurologist. He's like, okay, we've got to start medicine right away. I'm like, what's going on? Well, I had ascending paralysis. I was starting to slowly lose everything from the toes up. And we were trying to get it arrested, but we had no idea what was causing it. I thought that the food that I'd eaten the evening before had triggered it, but he didn't agree. I wound up fainting in a different doctor's office, and I was in there because I had found a lump in my breast, and then come to find out, and it turned out it was breast cancer. November of 2011 is when I started having the ascending paralysis. By February of 2012, I was on a ventilator for 3 weeks in ICU. Then had a bilateral mastectomy then, and as soon as we got the cancer out, then I started improving, but very slowly, and it seemed like I was taking 2 steps forward, 1, 2, or 3 steps back, and it just could not seem to get out of the drain that I was in. I wound up having what looked like seizures, neurologic disturbances, and just could not figure out what it was. And they said, oh, I'm sorry, we've gone through all the cancer treatments, you've done a year's worth of chemo, this is all we can do for you. I wasn't going to be around in 6 months to a year if we didn't figure something out. I knew that the answer was out there, we just had to find it. And to find someone that believed me, that I knew that there was a connection between all my food allergies and my gluten sensitivity, and how within 12 hours it triggered the ascending paralysis that eventually led to the breast cancer. And I searched and searched and found Dr. Osborne on the website. I made an appointment and got in, and it was just, we just started from scratch. Dr. Osborne has just pointed me in the right direction nutritionally and figured out all of my food allergies and my sensitivities, and then I was very nutritionally deficient because of the 2 cycles of chemo I'd been through, so I had multiple deficiencies, and especially in vitamin D and B12. And once I started getting my system taken care of, my body started healing, and it's just incredible. I mean, now I'm back in dance class, and I went from a wheelchair and on a ventilator to being able to dance again and drive myself to school and to my husband's work, and I couldn't do that before. Within 3 months, my shaking spells, or my myoclonus, had gone from several times a day to once here and there type thing. Now that we're a little over a year into it, my myoclonic events are, well, my last major one was Thanksgiving. And so we're talking, instead of a couple a day, we're talking weeks to months in between. By fixing the foundation and then really fixing what goes in my body, then my body can heal itself and function the way it's supposed to. I'm just so grateful to have found this place.